You want to edit background music for your tabletop RPG sessions on your PC? With Audacity, you can do that A, within just a few minutes, and B, absolutely for free. Let's get started. Hi, I'm Thomas from dramatize.com, and today I'm going to show you how to do simple audio file editing for your tabletop RPG background music. You've probably already been there. You've found the perfect movie or video game soundtrack for your scenario, but there's a part in there that's completely off tone and won't match the rest. So you're looking for a way how to get rid of that. Or maybe you have a handful of super short music files that are too short to run them on repeat without driving your players nuts. So you're looking for a way to combine them into a longer track. In both cases, Audacity will help us. The next couple of minutes will be a crash course in editing and cutting audio files. Let's start off with installing Audacity. Audacity is available for free at www.audacityteam.org. On the website, just click the big download button and the file will start downloading. On the following page, there's also a list of downloads, one for each operating system, and you can manually start the download from there as well. Check the video description for the link of the website. So here's the Audacity user interface. In the top left corner, we got the classic play buttons such as pause, play, stop, skip to the start or to the end of the track, record a new track, or play a track on repeat. There's a set of selection tools. We only need the first one that looks like a text cursor. And we have the standard editing functions like cut, copy, and paste. Two buttons that are very dear to me are the undo and redo button, just in case we made any mistake, and they're buttons for zooming in and out. The rest of the user interface we actually don't need. Stuff like volume control, levels, and device selection are for more advanced operations like podcast recording. At the top of the screen, there are the navigation menus. We only need the file menu there because it contains the functions for importing audio files and exporting them once we've edited them. Now that's enough theory. We're actually missing something, and that's an audio track to edit. So the next step will be finding an audio file and editing into Audacity. To import an audio file, go to File, Import, Audio. There we got the File Explorer. Pick a track you want to import. I'll take the first one over here. And boom, we have it within Audacity. The track is shown in the style of an audio curve. And you see there are a lot of peaks in this track. These peaks indicate that these are loud parts or very intense parts. Take a look at the second half of the track. There's a big chunk of those peaks, which tells us this is probably a very intense and loud part of the track. This visual interpretation helps us to find the parts of the track where there's sudden change of mood, volume, or intensity. So this is really helpful for editing. You see here that there are two audio curves next to each other. This is because the music track is a stereo track, which goes for most music out there. Now that we got a track in place, we can start editing. First off, we're going to edit a single track. Later on, we'll be combining a handful of tracks into a single one. So let's start editing. To show you how to edit a single track, I found this tense, creepy ambient music that's probably a good fit for a heist scene or an infiltration scene. Let's listen to it for a while. I'll select this bit over here and click the play button. Yep, sounds neat, quite tense, that's good. But we can see in the audio curve that there is a part that's likely to be of a different mood. So I'll just position the cursor over here and click on play again to show it to you. Yeah, that's probably too epic, too intense for this heist or infiltration scene. And it's nearly impossible to time the narration, the story at the gaming table to fit this part of the music. So we want to cut it out. How do we do that? Finding the right part to delete is a bit of trial and error work. So I use the selection tool and place it at a spot where I think this might where the part I want to remove starts, and click play again. Yeah, the drum beat already is very hectic, so I'll move a few seconds back and try again. Still not what I'm looking for. Yeah, you can see this peak over here. This is where the drums start to roll. So I'm going to position the selection a few seconds before that. And to select the part I want to delete, just click the mouse button, keep it pressed, and drag the selection all over to the end, just like so. Now you can delete this part by hitting delete on your keyboard, or go to the navigation menu and go to edit, delete. Don't worry about hitting the exact spot. We use a fade over effect later on to smooth over the cutaway part, so this won't be noticeable. Let's check out how the cutoff part of our track sounds right now. Not that great. The track practically stops mid-air. We need to add a fade out there to smooth things over. So I'm going to highlight the last 5 to 10 seconds of the track, and I'm going to effect, fade out. There we have it. See how the audio curve changed to the end of the track? This means that the volume is gradually being decreased. Let's listen to it again. Great. That's what we were looking for. Now, just in case you cut off a part of the track at the start, you would go about it the same way, but instead of adding a fade out, you would add a fade in. The fade in effect is available here at Effect, Fade in. Works the same way as the fade out before. Now, what if the part you want to remove is right in the middle of your audio file? That's a bit trickier, but not super complicated. To show you how to handle this, I'm going to undo a few changes. Here is the original track again. And let's say we want to remove this part right in the middle. There are two buttons in the navigation menu that help us solve this problem. So there's the trim button, which removes the sections before and after the part you've selected, like so. So if you just want to keep the part in the middle, you use the trim button. But we were looking for something else, so I'm going to undo that. We wanted to remove the part we've highlighted and keep the rest. And for this, we use the silence audio selection button, like this. And now there's a long pause between the other two parts. This means we need to add a fade out and fade in effect again. I'm going to highlight this part over here, add effect, fade out, and go to the second part, highlight that, add effect, fade in. Still, we got this very long break in between, so I'm going to highlight that and delete it by hitting the delete button on my keyboard. And let's listen to that now. Yep, that sounds good. So this sounds like you've combined two different audio tracks into one. That's definitely better than just cut away a part in the middle and have this bump between the two sections that doesn't sound super good. So we can leave it like that. And now we would export this track because we're done editing. We'll jump to the export file functions a bit later. You can move forward in the video by using the timestamp. We'll now look into combining a set of audio tracks into a single one. Most movie or video game soundtrack titles have a length of roughly 2 to 3 minutes, which is just too short to use them as background music for role-playing games. Even if you run them on repeat, it will drive your players nuts. It's just so annoying to listen to the same track over and over again. So you can either do playlists, combine these tracks into playlists, but I found it more comfortable to combine single tracks into a longer single track for handling them at the gaming table more comfortably. So this is what we're going to do now. For this, I'll delete the old track. I'll delete the audio curve this is not what I was looking for. We need to delete the full section here by going to the very left side and clicking on the X. There we go. And now I'm going to import a set of new audio files. And I'll pick these 3 here with a pressed Control key. And there we go. We now have a set of 3 different audio files. And we have 3 or 6 audio curves there if you count the stereo audio curve separately. And there is a huge problem now. This is really a big problem. All the tracks would play during the same time. So this would be utter chaos. We need to move the tracks around to make sure they are being played after each other. This is what we're going to do now. So to reposition the single tracks, I'm going to highlight the second track. I can drag the selection tool all over from the start to the end, or I'll just double click it, which is much more quick. I'm going to cut out the audio file, place the selection tool where I want to insert it again, and by pressing Ctrl V or using the icons in the menu bar, I'm going to insert it again. I'm going to do the same for the third track, just like so. And you can do this back and forth multiple times until the pauses between the tracks are what you're looking for. So, for example, the second track has a very long pause at the end. I'm going to cut out the third track again and reposition it over there. So there's a bit of overlap. This won't do no harm as the second track is silenced at this position there anyway. Another tip, when working with different audio tracks, it can be the case that they have a different volume level. So there could be a very loud track hidden in there. To make sure this doesn't happen with your selected files, just go to the very left-hand side and there's a volume control with the minus and plus size. So I suggest browsing through the audio tracks, listening to them, and if a single one is too loud or not loud enough, adjust the volume of the track with this slider over there. You can also move around your audio files and, for example, combine them into a single track, but I found it easier to keep them on separate tracks. Because if you edit one of the tracks, for example, cutting a part out, it won't affect the positioning of the other tracks. That in most situations, that's pretty helpful. And that's how you combine a set of shorter audio files into a longer track. We're now done with editing our audio file, so we can export it. To do so, we go to File, Export, Export as MP3. And it's a good idea to assign a speaking file name that tells you which kind of mood or ambient your audio file conveys. In this case, let's pick Underground Temple 1. That's the file name. And here's a pop-up dialog. Here you can assign tags for the MP3 file. And this is the information that shows on your player app or player program. And here it's clever to assign a track title. We're just going to use the same name again, Underground Temple 1. Click on OK, and the file is being saved and prepared. There we go, we're done. And that's how you edit files and export them for your role-playing game session. So that's how you edit your background music files using Audacity. If you found the video helpful, leave us a like. If you have questions on how to use background music, if you have ideas for where to find good files, or suggestions for different editing tools, let us know in the comments. We'd really appreciate your feedback. Head on over to dramatize.com if you're looking for additional GM tips. We also prepared a list of a few hundred audio files and background music tracks over there. See you soon.